doing?
How are you?
Good.
Ayo, from your perspective, what kind of impact did Alex have on your team in the huddles, on the court, everywhere?
I mean, he had a major impact, just having another competitor out there, another guy who was willing to do the little things, another leader. All of those things help, and he impacted everybody tonight.
Does he almost kind of raise the entire team's defensive tone just by his presence and his communication and his IQ?
Definitely, he makes it easier for a lot of us, especially me. Sometimes, when we're in pick and rolls, we're comfortable enough to just call the switch out. Like I said, he's a veteran. He has won. He played in those higher level games. And when you have that boosts the morale defensively, it gives energy and it helps the team overall.
Is there any one play that stood out with Alex on the court defensively to you tonight? You're like, whoa, we haven't had that in a little bit.
Yeah, it was the play in the first half. He had got a steal just by being in the gap, being active. That was probably the play where I knew, him being back helps a lot.
He had a lot of advice for people when he was on the bench and kind of acting like an assistant coach. Did you appreciate that, or is it glad to have him back in uniform so he doesn't talk to you so much, or how do you see all that?
Oh, no, I mean, pretty much everything he's saying is the truth, and I'm willing to accept it because it makes me a better player, and I'm pretty sure our teammates also, it makes them a better player, and it makes us a better team. Alex, his how vocal he is, his leadership, that helps us overall, and it helps us get better and better each time. And the good thing I love about Alex is not only is he, willing to give out so much wisdom and words of encouragement, he also is willing to take it, and that's what makes him very unique.
Garland learned from this like getting a chance to guard Garland a few times, or do you pick up things every time you play against him?
I mean, yeah, anytime I play against another guard, good guard in the NBA, I try to pick things up because, I'm trying to, of course, get better and better each game. And the information is there. It's on me to, take it and use it.
Have a favorite part of it when you matched up against an all-star? Is there any favorite part of going against that challenge that you sort of relish or enjoy?
I mean, I just try to go out there and just compete. I understand that each and every night it's another player. I just want to go out there and compete, play as hard as I can.
Zach's out. Do you change your mindset at all?
In terms of what?
Offensive player, what you want to do out there?
I mean, just different times to pick my spot. Of course, when we have DeMar, Zach, Vooch out there, 3 high-level guys, 3 all-stars. Me being a point guard, just picking different times to pick my spots. And that's the one thing I'm just learning, just playing each and every night. We game 67, something like that. Just getting better and better each time to understand when I can, find easy ways to score, when I can find better ways to feed my guys, get them involved.
Look at what you guys are able to do defensively, forcing turnovers, steals. How much of an impact do you have?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we talked about that. It's not necessarily something that you're just going to have another player do. He and Lonzo have been really good at that all year long. Just the disruption and his IQ to see things happening. As they're developing and being able to jump into passing lanes and recognize and read. We become obviously more disruptive and. Like I said, there were some things in his absence that I still think that we could control better. We still have to control. But, I thought we could have really, capitalized a lot tonight on that. But I thought we turned it over way too much, on the breaks. We ended up being kind of a wash, which was unfortunate because I thought we had some really good opportunities to get out and transition.
And he plays 29 minutes. He was even looking for his own offense a little bit too. How did you think he looked from a win perspective, from a rhythm?
He was tired at the end. He was tired. That's why I took him out, because I didn't know. I knew we were going to need him coming down the stretch, and they were making a little bit of a run. And, I don't think he was too thrilled with me taking him out, but that's okay. But he says, I'm gassed right now. And I just knew we needed another defensive possession and an offensive possession. So, I rest him real quick, let him catch his breath. I mean, he's like I said this before, I think he's done a great job, with the injury, that the minute he was able to start doing things physically, he did them to the nth degree, and he kept himself in really good conditioning. I think I was never worried about the conditioning piece. I was more worried about the basketball piece of the timing and the shooting and those kind of things. So I thought he looked really good out there, but it's a tribute to him and the work that he put in for the time that he was out to get himself ready to be able to come back and play the way he did tonight.
What do you think about the defense you got to play on Garland, especially in the first half? I really have to start off 1-12 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to take anything away from our guys. I think they had a tough, sometimes the schedule, is, like I said, sometimes schedule can be tough. They obviously are in Miami. I don't know what time they got in. It's a tough back-to-back. A lot of times guys that shoot the ball the way he does, can miss some shots. I thought he was really good in the second half, but that's not taken away from the work that I think Ayo and Alex put on him. They did a really, really good job. I think, getting into the ball, he's a hard guy to contain because he's so crafty. But, again, I thought we were disruptive, aggressive. We were up there. We were physical, and certainly made it hard for him, But like I said, I thought in the second half, he got downhill to the basket, maybe a little bit more than we would have liked to.
You haven't hesitated to put Ayo on those on guys like Garland. We talked about other guys who defended. It's kind of what, is that a challenge to do? You came to him and he has sort of been excited to accept. How do you just sort of impress you with most of the way Ayo's?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been more Jamal just what he has shown, over the course of training camp and preseason and games he's gotten in there. He's shown a great propensity to be a really good defender, and he's disciplined and he learns. I think the flagrant one and fouling a 3-point shooter, I think that's a great learning lesson for him, because those are like momentum changing plays. They make all 3 of those free throws and hit a 3, a 16-point lead goes to 10, basically with no time going off the clock. And he can learn a lot, from that situation, but he's eager to learn and get better, but he's competitive and he takes a lot of pride in his defense. So, I mean, I have always felt comfortable from day one, putting him on different people. Now, the biggest thing you have to deal with is just the inexperience of him playing guys for the first time, but he's a quick learner and a quick study, and he'll figure those things out.
What do you see from Ayo in terms of when he sees a guy that he's defending the second or the third time, just kind of how are you seeing him make kind of some of those counters as he's having to, get more reps against players than maybe a player would have called?
Well, I think it goes both ways, and what I mean by that is, he here against Trae Young, guarded him and did a really, really good job. I mean, Trae Young's probably watching film the next time he plays, so there's a little bit of that. It's not only him playing a guy for the first time, it's also somebody seeing him for the first time too. So those guys, those really great scorers and great backcourt players, I think those guys are all watching film and taking inventory and understanding, okay, you know what, he's doing this or he's doing that. I can take advantage. And then he's going to figure those things out. So it's kind of a chess match going back and forth. But I do think the more he plays against players, the more he can figure things out. And I got a lot of confidence and belief in him just because I know how competitive he is. I know how much of a team guy he is. And you just know he's going to give everything and put everything into it. And that's not to say he's going to be perfect. But when he does make mistakes, he's going to course correct and get better from it.
I think you alluded to it before, sort of like a fusion effect that, when a good defensive player comes back, it affects even with pro players. Like if a good offensive player comes back, does it have an impact on other players? If other players, do you even get a sense that they feel more comfortable more because somebody else is taking care of something that is important?
Yeah, I think, Tim, that could be, without question that could happen. I think there's a lot of confidence in that locker room with Alex defensively and what he can do and his disruption and just way he generates steals and deflections and things like that. And, I think when we were whole with him and Lonzo back there, I think that was really kind of the strength of our defense. We were disruptive. Those guys were really, really physical. They're long, they're athletic. And they're really, really high IQ players. So I think when you get a guy like Alex, you throw him back in there, there's no question your defense is going to get better. I think when you bring scorers back, I think a lot of times the team has to adjust to that and he has to adjust to the team. But I think when you're bringing a defender back, it's probably a lot easier to do it with a defender than maybe a scorer, so to speak.